Welcome to Come and See, your podcast for finding truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by All for Jesus Living Waters Ministry. With host and founder Richard Case and co-host and retreat leader Kathy Ricconi. Join us every weekday at this time to discuss news, spend time in the Word, and receive answers to your personal questions about living life in God's truth. And now your host, Richard Case.
Well, good morning, Kathy.
Good morning. How
Here
are
we
you?
are, middle of April, working on covenant stuff. We're pretty excited. How is this? We taped this before Easter, but this is showing after Easter. What were your plans? What are your plans for Easter?
We
What
haven't.
did you do?
I don't know what it is we're going to be doing quite yet. I know our church has 4 services that day, and Dan and Anna and I all serve in the children's ministry, and so that's always a big day for that. So I know we will be enjoying that, and then at some point, I think our big Easter family dinner will be maybe Monday instead because of timing with Caleb and Liv and being able to get together with them too. So our day may be shifted a little bit. And Anna and I were just having a conversation about what would be a neat way to make that just a special day that honors God, and maybe, I don't know, do something a little creative for some other people that day.
That'd be good.
To be special. Yeah.
Anything new on the new couple? Are they getting plans ready, or how's that going?
Plans are rolling. Yes. So Caleb's been sending me links to different venues that they're checking out. And so that's exciting. They're looking at those and trying to solidify. They're looking to January for the date. So we'll see what comes available. And by the time this airs, we will have already gone wedding dress shopping. But on April 9th, we're going wedding dress shopping. And Liv invited Anna and I to come with her and her mom and her sister for that. So that's just going to be a fun girls' day. It's neat being in this season again of getting ready for the wedding. And there's so many cool parallels actually in terms of readying the bride for the bridegroom. A lot you can think about and just put spiritual application to as well. So
yeah. So you will her mom and you all go wedding dress shopping?
Yes. Yeah. She included me in that. So I'm super excited for that. Yeah.
We'll get to you can share how did unity happen?
I imagine it will be, if you haven't met Liv yet, when you meet her, it'll be a day of laughter and joy and fun, and there will be no conflict whatsoever. It'll be, I'm sure she'll put on a paper bag and it'll look beautiful, but I just have a feeling we'll all just know when she hits the one.
Yeah, that'll be fun. That'd be neat. What kind of things do kids look for at venues? What kind of venues are available these days?
So one of the things that I think they are intrigued by, a lot of times people are using barns now. They're using all kinds of creative things, but I think some of the ones that they are most drawn to tend to have that, have a barn feel. And boy, they do some gorgeous, amazing things. And then, and you're in New England. And so you've got some of these old barns that have been repurposed for event centers, and they're, rolling hills and mountains in the backs, and, just stunning to be at from all points of view. So.
Right. So when that happens, do they actually hold the ceremony there too, or is it they do the church and then go there?
No, typically. So that's been kind of a trend. I think Joshua and Emily got married in 2019. And at that point, it was already very much a trend, I think, to not be holding weddings in churches so much. Their weddings have become venues. People will do them at vineyards, at barns, at castles, all kinds of different things, and still have a very, like for Josh and Emily's, it was a beautiful worship service was part of their wedding, but it was at this wedding venue. What was the name of that? Casa something, but this beautiful sprawling in the hills of Austin. that, these things that are just made for such a setting, so it's pretty, but you're seeing the trend definitely away from doing it in the church. But this will be a very worship focused ceremony still,
Yeah. When our son Peter and Shara got married, and now they have the grand boys that are 18, almost 16. Do you believe that? So when they got married at our country club. And it was in August. And in the afternoon in Colorado, in July and August, almost every day is a thunderstorm.
Right. Around the same time, like 3:30ish,
yeah,
right?
About
That's how it was in Colorado Springs.
Yeah, usually 2:30, 3 o'clock. And so you know that there's going to be a thunderstorm. And it comes and leaves, and it's immediately dry. I mean, it's the sun's out and everything's beautiful. So we planned the wedding for 4:30. So the thunderstorm would come and we'd be ready. Well, this day didn't come. And so we start the service, and they come down. And I was officiating because I was marrying them. And so and we had a big group of people there. And as soon as I started the service, the thunderstorm comes.
Oh no.
And it was one of those, there's thunderstorms, and then there's thunderstorms. It was a massive, lightning was right there, and heavy rain and massive sound. So I'm starting the service, and this thunderstorm with loud, every 10, 20 seconds was lightning flashing right there.
Wow.
And the boom, the booms and the thing, and so, but, well, the service started. I'm going to keep going, so we keep going. Well, everybody, it was funny because we were in this, this tent, outside tent. And,
oh, wow.
And there were chairs, but people from the outside near the edge of the tent literally got up and moved because they were so afraid.
Right.
That they're going to get hit by lightning. I mean, so they moved, and then it's loud, and and I did the service, and they got married. And by the way, the only people that could hear, and I even had a mic, were me and them.
Oh no!
Literally nobody else could hear what we were doing. And then we finished the thing, and we're going to have music. We're going to have a song, And so I said, okay, now hey, we're gonna play this. We're going to play this song, and Linda, my wife, who was in the front row, she yells to me, "Skip the song." Skip the song. Okay, all right. So we ended it early. Literally, it finished, and it ended. The storm ended. The sun comes out, and they just had a beautiful reception. And the only thing that everybody can remember is they said, I remember them. I can see them getting married. I couldn't hear what they were doing.
Couldn't hear a thing. Did the videographer capture it?
He did. He boom. It was good. So it was.
That's
fun.
Awesome.
So it's these venues are really fun, and yeah, it's opposed. I don't know. Did you probably got married in a church, right?
We got married at the Air Force Academy Chapel.
Oh, nice. That's beautiful.
Yeah, and then had our reception at the Officers Club afterwards.
So. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. Yeah, we got married.
It was really fun.
We got married in church, and since Linda was a pastor's kid, we had the reception in the church basement.
Right.
So that was
fun
that's
too. Growing up in Memphis, when I would go back for several of my high school friends who got married, it was the wedding was in the church, the reception was in the basement, and it was done in about 15 minutes.
Right. That's right.
That's
right. Let's get going.
So we joke about the fact that we had a Baptist wedding and a Catholic reception.
And I know exactly what that means too.
Yep.
Okay, so as we're talking about the covenant, we've discussed again that God's going to bless you to make you a blessing. That the aspect of all these privileges, He's going to protect us. He's going to give us shalom. He's going to give us His abundant life. He's going to give us restoration. And then he says the covenant is where I'm going to issue promise, and the promise has been given to Christ, who now offers it to us. And there's depth to this promise or promises. And so what we talked last time is, well, he promises covenant loyalty, or he's loyal to the covenant. And that is, you can count on me being able to fulfill what I said by blessing you to make you a blessing, and start there, because I am definitely loyal to the covenant and you can trust it. Okay, well, this next and this is going a little bit deeper now. So we said covenant loyalty. He just said as a statement, I'm loyal to the covenant. I'm going to bless you to make you a blessing. You can count on it. He said, okay, the next thing I promise is my faithfulness. So if you could look at, let's look at Exodus 34, and we'll start to unpack this. What does that mean? And how is that a little bit different than covenant loyalty? Exodus 34, 6-7.
And the Lord passed before him and proclaimed, the Lord God, merciful and gracious, long-suffering and abounding in goodness and truth, keeping mercy for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, by no means clearing the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children and the children's children to the third and the fourth generation.
Yeah. So he says that I am going to fulfill, what I said, and you can count on me with my faithfulness, my ability to deliver the promise. You can be rest assured. And he kind of adds in there, hey, by the way, if you've been harmed or are being harmed, don't worry, I'll take care of that. Well, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But he says, my nature is to fulfill, what I've said to you, what I spoke to you, as I now translate the thought of I'm going to bless you to make you a blessing. Well, the question is, we got a problem, we have an issue, we have a decision. Exactly what is it about this particular time? How does that apply to me in this particular time? He said, good. Rest assured, I will now handle your personal situation, and I'll be faithful to handle it. Okay, go over to Deuteronomy 32, 7.
I have 32:4. Is that?
Excuse me, 32, 32:4.
Just making sure. Okay.
I got to read that correctly. 32:4.
He is the rock. His work is perfect, for all his ways are justice, a God of truth and without injustice. Righteous and upright is he.
Yeah. Okay. So what does it say is his nature?
Justice.
Yeah. Justice, and that is on all sides of it, is that justice is, I'm going to make things correct. I'm going to make it right. I'm going to bring it back to what it is, and you can be assured that truthfulness, my ability to execute this, my ability to deliver this, will be so. Because remember, some of our problems are around, I'm getting harmed by injustice. I'm having things that aren't fair. It doesn't seem right to me. He said, no, you can be assured that I will set things straight. I will fulfill it. Now, again, the questions we have is, okay, great. I'd like you to do that tomorrow.
And the way I'd like you to do it, ideally.
Yeah. And it's like, no, you just remember, my nature is my faithfulness is to deliver you to the covenant. And so as you're being opposed, or as you're experiencing things that aren't just, I'll set it straight. And let me get you back to the blessing part. And don't you worry about, and we'll get into this later, about you serving justice. I'll take care of it.
Does this tie in a little bit when you speak of, I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you?
It does. As part of the covenant is, it goes together. I'm going to bless you to make you a blessing.
Right.
And then he adds, I'm going to bless those who bless you, and I'm going to curse those who curse you. And we'll get into this, but let's get into it a little bit right now, is when you think of people who bless you and people that curse me, this is kind of misunderstood. What would you say would be the average interpretation of whether somebody's blessing me or not?
for me, I tend to look at things almost through the lens of kindness. Is somebody doing something that is favorable towards
Yeah.
me, that is encouraging or kind and all of that,
Yeah.
and cursing somebody coming against me in some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And so you tend to take those two statements and push them to what I call the edge. The people that are blessing me are completely favorable, supporting, and doing everything to assist my blessing.
Right.
Those who curse me are at the very edge.
Right.
They're
And
trying
opposing me.
They're trying to oppose me, attack me, and are hurting me. And God said, actually, it's a little bit, in a sense, simpler than that. And that is that because of blessing, and this is important to understand. Think about, if they're blessing you, who by definition must they be blessing?
By God, because
God.
He's within me.
Because he says everything. He said everything emanates from, and that's why we talked about justice so importantly. Is it's all about my holiness. It's all about my justice, and because I'm in you. Number one is, are you walking with me?
Right.
Because if you're not, I could be in you, but because you're not walking with me, and remember, not walking with me is just simply
staying in self, basically.
I'm deciding on my own, or I don't even care. I don't even care or think it's possible to have God lead me, so I'll just lead myself. He says, well then, and this is out of Romans 8, you have separated yourself from me. You put to death the Spirit. You're at enmity against me, and you cannot please me. So he said, first of all, in order for this all to be true for you, well, first of all, are you walking with me?
Right.
And by the way, if you're walking with me, you have a heart to go to what? Truth. I'm going to go pursue the truth. By the way, the Bible has a lot of truth.
Yes.
That's why abiding in the Word is so critical, is let me take that truth and help me unpack it. We had Richard Anderson last week as a guest, or I guess 2 weeks ago now.
A couple weeks, yeah.
That he said I had to learn to get over my shame. Well, how did he do that? It wasn't, well, Richard, stop it.
Right. No, will yourself to, and self-talk yourself to.
It was, well, let's go see what the Word says, and let the Word now, through your abiding, do its work in you to take that truth and have you now experience it in your life.
Right.
And do you have a heart to do that and pursue truth? Okay. So that's what it means to walk with Him. All right. Now, somebody coming again next to you. And let's take the thought of they don't agree with you.
Okay.
How could they still bless you?
Wow. So if they don't agree with you, it'd still be a blessing if ultimately that comes in a healthy way to get you both to truth.
Yeah. Let's go pursue truth together. It doesn't mean I agree, or it doesn't mean I change my thought, but my heart is to walk with you until we both see truth.
Right.
Okay, now if they're walking with you to see truth, who are they actually walking with?
Walking with God.
They're walking with God.
Yeah.
So he really just says, it's kind of simple. Those that bless you just have a desire to walk alongside of you in life to facilitate your abundant life while you facilitate my abundant life. And let's walk together, including, by the way, and Scripture speaks of this in Romans 14, a few things. There is a truth about it, but for some reason you can't seem to get there. And he says, that's okay. It's okay that you think a little bit differently. Romans 14 says, come to your own conclusion. So first of all, what do you believe to be true? And now live that way. with me. And by the way, if it's not really, if it's a completely opposing me, I'm going to let you know that God's speaking. And the person next to you, they've come and said, no, I think something differently. He said, don't let that divide you at all. Don't judge each other. You can live with that ambiguity. I'll give you a simple example, which we talk about in the end times a lot, is the thought of the rapture. Is I can tell you, I've come across people on all sides of this, and they are firmly settled.
Right.
It's pre-trib, it's mid-trib, it's post-trib. That's what I've settled. And see, my position is, okay, that's okay. I'm going to tell you one thing is that I'm not sure that that's absolute in Scripture, but if that's what you've settled, that's okay, even though I might have thought or believe or consider that there's another possibility, but we can bless each other because you know what? It's not that important.
Right.
And God said it's okay that it's not that important. You can walk together. You can have joy together. What would change now, and we can take this example, what changes to cursing?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask you. What does that then look like?
Okay, it's the opposite of it in a simple way. I'm not willing to go with you to pursue truth.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I'm going to not only, and it can go from I'm just not willing to do it to I'm going to try to persuade you to do what I want, or I'm going to fight you and hurt you because you're in my way. Okay, but we tend to think of I can see people trying to hurt me. That's a curse. Actually, I can just say, you can say, hey, Rich, would you consider that I kind of disagree with you on the rapture. Could we go process that together? And I say, no. I've already decided you're not right. And until you go with the way I want to, I'm not doing it. Guess what? I've just stepped into cursing.
You're actually cursing.
I've just stepped into cursing because what have I just said? By not going with you, what have I just said?
That you don't want to go with God.
I'm not going with him. I don't care. And I've decided on my own. He said, well, now they're cursed. So that here, what he says, justice will be served is, first of all, are you treating people with honor, respect, and grace because you have forgiveness in your heart? It doesn't mean you reconcile. It doesn't mean you agree with them. And then have you invited them to process with you? And they say no. God says, oh, okay. They've stepped over the line of justice. I'm gonna make it so. They're cursed until they realize that they need to change, and then walk with you and walk with me. But I'll take care of it, not you. You don't need to do it. Justice will be served. And you can trust it. Yeah. So it is really interesting. And it's, as you look at it, and we'll get into this later because we have responsibility of all this, but for me, it's like, well, I would never want to be on the side of cursing. So,
right.
So if somebody disagrees with me, okay, do you want to go? Or they say, you know what, I think what you just did was wrong, or I think what you're doing isn't right. Well, am I willing to process with them? And I always want to be yes, because I know if I just say, no, I've decided, God says, well, you've just stepped into injustice and you're going to be cursed. So I really pay attention to that. And it's not that complicated, really. It's really pretty simple. Okay, so go to Psalm 33, 4 and 5.
Psalm 33, 4 and 5.
Yeah.
For the word of the Lord is right, and all his work is done in truth. He loves righteousness and justice. The earth is full of the goodness of the Lord.
Yeah. So his word is what?
Right.
Right. It's the word there is it's correct. It's powerful. It's righteous. It will fulfill its purposes. And he says, I'll execute based on what I say. You can be assured that truth will be fulfilled. So that as you think of truth, we tend to think, well, do I know something that is true? Well, it's way, way more powerful than that. It's not that you know something is true. It's that truth is operating in my life. The life of the truth is operating in my life, and I'm experiencing the truth, not know about it.
Okay.
And so as I receive that, God says, my truth will fulfill itself. It's going to happen. So you can believe it. You can trust it. My word is so, and it will lead you to the truth, which you'll experience. Okay. Now, if that's the way it goes, if his word is right, if his word is the way to go, what must we then learn?
Word.
His word.
Yeah.
And the word there is really the Greek word equivalent to the Greek word rhema, which is, well, let me speak to you the logos and apply it to your life. And so you pay attention to that and listen to that and hear what I have to say. And when I say it, I'll perform it. I have the ability to deliver what I say, which is the cool thing about the covenant.
Right.
And we actually learned under covenant loyalty. He says, what? I'll command it. I'll speak it and it'll happen. Come with me and learn what it is. Okay, go to Deuteronomy 7:9.
It says, therefore, know that the Lord your God, he is God, the faithful God who keeps covenant and mercy for 1,000 generations with those who love him and keep his commandments.
Okay, so he says that he's faithful because he keeps what?
He keeps covenant. He keeps
it.
Covenant and mercy, yes.
Yeah, so and the word there is I fulfill it. I make it happen. And he says, I do it for how long?
For 1,000 generations.
1,000 generations. So a generation
So we're still covered.
We're still covered. A generation is generally 40 years. So 1,000 would be 40,000 years.
Wow.
So we're good. We're good. We got good time. And basically what he's saying is it's eternal, which he actually says in other places. It's forever. And that's why the Old Testament covenant of I'm going to bless you to make you a blessing and all the depth of that hasn't ended.
Right.
It's actually still going on. Now we know that it's fulfilled in Christ and that Christ is in us to deliver our side of the deal, which we'll talk about. But he says, I am faithful to absolutely deliver to you what I speak, and I speak to your personal situation. So it's not general, and again, as people are, like, for example, dealing in unforgiveness, well, you can read, you need forgiveness. Okay. I'll try. I'm going to try to have forgiveness. I should have forgiveness. I'm going to work in forgiveness. God says, no. He says, you take what I wrote, truth, and now ask me, how do I apply that to this person, to this situation, and give me your forgiveness to be able to experience that truth. And if I now this is really cool. If I pursue it, God says what? I'm faithful.
He will complete it.
To complete it, not for you to know about forgiveness, for you to experience forgiveness. And my work, which I'm faithful to, is to take that to fulfillment in you experientially, which, by the way, what? Fulfills the covenant. You're blessed. You become blessed because you're experiencing the truth of God that he spoke to, and he's faithful to deliver it. And think about it. Everything is on his back. What do I got to do? It's got to go with him.
Right.
Because he said, if you have a heart to go with me, I'll do it. It's going to happen.
I think about, as you're talking about that, you're talking about forgiveness with other people. But again, we referenced the interview with Rich Anderson
Yeah.
a couple of weeks ago. And I think for him, forgiveness of himself
Oh,
was
man.
something God had to walk him into, really to release that shame and guilt and step him into freedom. But then when he shares the story of full circle, even how things are mending with his daughter, I
Yeah,
believe it
that's
was,
right.
and
That's right.
son-in-law and the grandkids, you see that the ripple effects of that as God walked him into forgiveness of both himself and working in forgiveness with others, and just the blessing that he poured out in them and is pouring out in that.
That's right. Yep. And then there's one other statement in New Testament. Go to 1 Thessalonians 5:24, and it kind of puts a capstone on all this.
1 Thessalonians 5:24, he who calls you is faithful, who also will do it.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty simple.
That's pretty straightforward. Yeah.
I'm talking to you. I'm calling you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm faithful to, again, going back to, Deuteronomy, is I'm faithful
Mm-hmm.
to what I speak. And when I say I speak it, not only am I faithful to that word, but I will do it. And literally the word means I'll carry it out.
Right.
In reality, and so the promises of the covenant is, think about these nature of God and how beautiful these promises are. Is he says, first of all, I'm loyal to the covenant.
Mm-hmm.
You got a problem, you got an issue, you got a question, you have a decision, you don't know. He says, start with, I am going to deliver you to the place where you'll be blessed to be a blessing. I'm going to resolve this.
Right.
I will. Okay. Now I'm faithful to not only just say it and do it in a generic way, I have to do it now specifically for you in your situation. How? I have to speak to it. I have to say something to it. As I say it and you hear it and receive it, you can trust what?
That it will occur. It will be done.
I'm going to do it. And think about, and this is one thing that really drew me into abiding in the first place, was, I'm a seminary graduate, knew the Bible inside and out, intellectually.
Mm-hmm.
And I read it every day.
Right.
I was one of those guys that, and people taught me, have a quiet time.
Right.
And I literally, okay, I'm going to have one. So, and I was in the Word. I'm reading the Word, and I can understand it, and I'm thinking about it, and okay, I like that. Ooh, I like that. That's cool. Well, over time, every day I'm in the Word. Every day, and I have issues. I have questions. I have things, and I pray. Mm-hmm. Would you? Well, nothing was happening. Or the things that I thought weren't getting fulfilled. Or wait a minute, he said this. I can call him in times of trouble and he'll rescue me. And I called on you in a time of trouble.
I didn't see the rescue.
And I didn't get rescued.
Mm-hmm.
So hold on a minute. Linda. Got to quiet back there. The aspect of it wasn't happening. I had to then experience, well, how come? And it was, well, I took the generic, I heard that you're going to bless me to make me a blessing, but he said, now I got to make it specific, and you got to spend the time to listen, process, and let me apply truth to your situation. And by the way, when you get there, I'll do it. When I learned it, it was like, wow, how cool is this?
Right.
It's being fulfilled. It's really doing everything that God is saying. And so he said, I'm faithful to deliver the covenant. And not only in a generic way, but specifically through my word. And when I speak it, you can count that I'll make it happen. I'll bring it about. And that's the beauty of the covenant.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
And it speaks so much to his faith. I mean, we're talking about faithfulness, but that's his character. It's who he is. He cannot not be faithful.
Right.
You know?
That's right. Yeah. Well, we'll continue next week. I think we got the dates right now.
Who knows?
We'll
Who
come
knows?
back. We'll
Just
come
roll
back.
with us, guys. Give us
Glenda,
grace.
yeah. We have a guest day tomorrow, and then we'll have Good End Times Friday. We're going through the churches right now, so that's going to be fun to continue that series. So Kathy
Absolutely.
will continue this week, and we'll pick this up again next week. We got lots more to go of things. Things that he promises, and it'll be fun to explore.
Excellent. Thanks so much for sharing. And if I can just encourage everyone this week, as we've talked about his covenant loyalty and his faithfulness again, if that's something you're not experiencing yet, start pressing in, asking him questions and letting him grow that belief in you so that that can become your default position and you can see him be exactly who he says he is.
Yeah.
So
Yep. Amen.
enjoy the journey.
Yeah. Okay. All right. See you soon.
So take care.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Come and See, your podcast for truth in a world of chaos. Brought to you by All for Jesus Living Waters Ministry. Send us your questions and comments, and tune in tomorrow for more answers to your personal questions about living life in God's truth. Remember, God's will is best and none better. His truth brings peace in this world of chaos.